Most people aren't bad at networking. They're just playing a small game in small rooms with small outcomes.
So you're out here selling into mid-market companies, and somehow you ended up in a networking rooms with a guy selling magic crystals and someone who just launched their coaching business yesterday. You don't need another awkward coffee with someone who can't even spell B2B. You need real conversations that lead to real outcomes. You need a winning team that's as invested in your success as you are. That's Success Champion Networking, built for business owners who sell real solutions to real companies and are tired of networking in all the wrong rooms. No silly jingles, no pass a referral or else pressure, just smart, growth-minded pros who serve the same business-to-business audience as you do. So if you're ready to stop networking with people who think mid-market is a grocery store, go to successchampionnetworking.com, find a chapter near you, and register to visit.
Big opportunities don't come from volume, they come from proximity. Hey, I'm Donnie Bovine. I'm the founder and CEO of Success Champion Networking. I can't talk today. And today we're going to talk about how do you actually find yourself networking in the right rooms with the right people so you get the right opportunities. What I think most people are traditionally doing in networking is they're sitting in the same old networking groups and meetings that they've sat into for years, but they're not getting any ROI out of it. It has really become a social club. And I found if I sit with people and really were to break down where they're spending their time in all their networking activities, they would realize that most of it just isn't worth it. And it can't actually and hasn't helped them grow their business because theoretically they've just surrounded themselves with a bunch of really nice people. you know and what I find is most networking groups, most functions, their goal is really to create conversations, but they don't lead those conversations to anywhere. So what I try to think about is how do I find myself in the rooms with people that are actually selling at the level that I want to be selling at or the level I'm currently selling at? How do I build real relationships with those people? And then how do I get outcomes that are reflective of the life and business I then want to lead? And what I've found is by consistently staying in the rooms that I'm always been in, I never really get to the conversations that I want to. So really I'm going to dive into this episode, and if you really like or get anything out of this, please subscribe, hit the subscribe button below, and to keep you up to date on all the lives I do every Monday. So here's something I learned. CEOs go to breakfast, mid market goes to lunch, and salespeople go to after hours. So, if you're really looking to connect to that CEO level executive, then you want to get to the early morning meetings. You want to get to the time where they are actively out networking and doing events. But you're not going to find a CEO of a multi-million dollar company sitting in a traditional breakfast style weekly meeting, but you may see them at an event where there's a powerhouse keynote speaker. You may find them in an association where there's something very targeted to their world. And then, if you're looking to network to get around other salespeople who are selling at the level that you need to be networking, then the happy hours are a good place to play. In particularly like the happy hours that are at an association or conference where you get a better chance to mix and mingle with most people. But what I'm constantly looking for is wherever I go, are the people in the room, do they actually get it? Are they actually networking and connecting, or are they there just to socialize? So there's a couple of things that I figure out as I'm going to different rooms, different events, by how the first few interaction goes with the people that you meet. How they handle the interaction will tell you a lot about the meeting such. If you're running into a lot of people that only want to tell you about themselves, don't care what you're into, don't ever talk about your story, your journey, move on. That room is going to be purely transactional, and you're just not going to find a lot more of the right people there. Another rule of thumb for me: if you show up to a meeting and there's a multi-level marketing pyramid scam, whatever network marketer, I'm out. Like that tells me everything I need to know. And I know that that group is very, very transactional in nature and is not going to be a lot of high value. But if I walk into any sort of event, whether it's virtual or online, and they're interested in learning more about me, my company, my journey, who I need to meet, and they start making introductions, interactions quickly, I know this is a great place for me to hang out and try and build a real solid relationships. And I'm looking for places where people are not aggressively, but proactively coming to me asking for, hey, let's grab a coffee, let's grab some time without getting overly into details about what they do. They're more curious about me because I found the environments that are more curious about me tend to be a higher caliber thing because look, if you sell business to business and you're selling into mid-market multi-million dollar companies, you're used to a lot deeper, a lot further, a lot more elongated conversations than you would be than others that are more transactional in nature. Why do networking groups get stagnant? And it's because a couple things. One, it's the same people saying the same thing over and over again, and they never change it up. Two, there's nobody new ever showing up at the chapters or at the meetings and alike. Like literally, if you're in a weekly meeting type networking organization or group, visitors are the lifeblood of that group. You're going to build strong, deep relationships. But when visitors come to the table, it really energizes and gets the group kicked up and going. The and That's it. Nobody's making moves. Nobody's inviting, and nobody is getting anything out of the group. Like there's no value, and what you'll see in these weekly groups that don't get a lot of value, people are just waiting for their turn to talk. They're not listening. They're not engaged. There's no reason to it. So if the meetings are the same redundant meeting each week, it's never going to work because let's face it, if you got 30 people in a room and they're all doing their whatever elevator pitch and introducing themselves, you've turned out after the second person talked. And the only thing you're listening for is somebody to call your name so it's your turn. Like you don't care what the other people are saying during that process. So the meeting format has to be conducive to really energizing people and getting them talking, but it also has to have visitors coming in because now the people are more in tune to what everybody's saying and what they're trying to learn and get out of the group. I'm also looking for groups that are going to control access to the room. So it's not a place where anybody can show up and participate and be a part of, right? So I'm looking for, the president of maybe the chapter or whoever's putting it together. What do they do, right? Who are they targeting? What is their key demographic? I'm also looking for what are the industries in there, who is the people that are controlling the conversations inside of their, who influences the buying decisions, and does being there change my overall trajectory of networking? Like, is it going to get me access to new rooms? Is it going to get me new opportunities? Am I going to allow me to meet new people? And are there anybody in that room that overlap with my services that could be very synergistic in nature and help me, move the business forward? So I'm looking for, constantly, where are my best referral partners hanging out? Everybody focuses on their end user clients. I focus on my best referral partners because I want to know specifically, can I go somewhere and meet 100 people that have my ideal client but don't compete with me versus going in a room where it's filled full of my ideal clients and having 500 of my competitors in the room? Like, I want to go where nobody else is playing and double down in that world and make it really, really work for me. So I want to be in rooms that are built around outcomes. Like there is a real agenda, there's a real goal, there's a real point to being in the room. I want curated communities with gatekeepers. I don't want this free open room where everybody can join to be a part of at any moment in time. I want them curated. So what I find is that ups the caliber of the attendees in the room, but it also allows you to get structured and the room doesn't take off on its own. And I want to be in rooms where literally introductions, they really carry a lot of weight. Like if you put your name in front of somebody, I want it to matter. Um, so uh, I want to really think about this. How do I up level my network without burning bridges with people that I already have relationships with? Look, your network is constantly going to evolve, right? It's constantly going to level up, and you're going to have some people that aren't going to level up and grow with you. Like, a few years ago, I went back and visited a networking group that I started 15 or so years ago, and it was interesting because there's still some of the people that were there that I started with, and they're still having the same conversations around the same things and the same stuff. And what I find is, they just haven't evolved to the level of my business. Like, they're good people, don't get me wrong. I love them to death, but I want to be around people that are continuing to evolve, continuing to push themselves, and continuing to level themselves up. Like, and if you're starting to evolve and you're starting to get in big rooms, don't brag about it and tell people, all right, I'm going to level up here. Like, let your actions speak louder than your overall words so you can advance without announcing to let everybody know about it. And look, we're not chasing status here. This is not about you pumping your chest saying I'm leveling up, going to be in bigger rooms, and like, this is about you doing what's best and what grows your business. How do you find yourself around surrounded by people? And oftentimes it's people that intimidate you or people that force you into almost feeling uncomfortable about the situation so that you can evolve yourself and push yourself. So, um, what I want you guys to really think about, it's not volume of meetings you attend. It's not, can I do 5 billion, virtual coffees or in-person coffees? It's not about how many one-on-ones can I get into. How do you know when to level up to a new group? I will give just about anything about a year's worth of time to determine if it's worth my time. And what I'm trying to figure out is if in a year's worth of time, have I helped somebody else grow their business? Was I able to give introductions? Was I able to give referrals? Was it a place that I wanted to bring other people to because I was excited for them to experience what I experiencing? And then what's the ROI from the group? If the ROI is, am I getting introductions? Am I getting referrals? Am I getting opportunities? Am I getting knowledge? If I'm not getting those things within a year's worth of time, it's time to move on to something else, because what I find is most people, because they're nice people and they've made friends, they don't look at the overall or ROI from the activity. So within a year's time, if you're not getting ROI, which can be financial, like you're gaining clients, it can be opportunities, you learn about things and places you need to be, you're getting introduced to fantastic people that can lead to opportunities. Like, there's multiple ROIs, or maybe you're just getting the right knowledge you need for your business or what you sell. If you're not getting that ROI after a year, it's time to move on to something else. So what I like about what we've done with Success Champions Networking is we've curated an environment of the right people, the right rooms that are focused on introductions. So at Success Champion Networking, what we're really focused on is how do we bring people together that are focused on a very similar ICP, ideal client profile, and how do we get them meeting on a weekly basis where they're legit opening doors to each other's referral partners. They're providing, real value in weekly meetings that are very curated. Like, these aren't rooms that anybody can just pop in and be a part of. These are curated, very much rooms. I like that some of our chapters have gone very, very industry specific. So we have chapters now that are focused on manufacturing, healthcare, GovCon, hospitality. We're working on a couple of groups that are going to be focused on consumer packaged goods and the likes. And they're all focused on the mid-market companies. So companies who sell, $1 to $100 million in revenue. And by curating these rooms, we've been able to really, really, really level up the caliber of individual that's in the room. So stop asking who I should meet and start thinking more about who should I know? Who's got my client base? Where are they hanging out? How can I get into their circle and their orbit so I can continue to sell one to many versus your one-to-one. So, guys, stop networking small. Think bigger rooms, bigger opportunities, bigger people, right? And if you got any value out of this video today, do me a favor, make sure you subscribe below, comment any thoughts and takeaways you get from this, share this out for somebody. And as always, love you, mean it. See you, bye.